welcome back to my channel. If you are new, welcome. My name is Marissa. In today's video, I am working on all things apple. My brother-in-law Travis brought me red apples that you'll see from, I think it's his parents' apple tree. He brought me a bunch of those, and then my other brother-in-law James and my sister-in-law Tara brought me a bunch of green apples from, I think he said a neighbor or a buddy of his. I can't remember where he said he got his. But I'm going to do my best to process as many of those as I can. I think I have roughly about 50 pounds of apples. And so my goal is to do apple pie filling, apple scrap jelly, and apple juice. I don't have a juicer or anything. I'm just kind of winging it. Well, I'm not winging it. I'm using Pinterest to help me. I'm going to get started peeling these apples. And I don't know how long it's going to take me, and I don't know how long I'll get done today. I'm getting started late. It is 3:30. Yeah, I don't see me getting too much done today. But we're going to go for it, and hope you guys enjoy. Get you a cup of coffee and sit back and watch, or put me up in your kitchen, and we'll work in the kitchen together. All I am doing is using my apple peeler core slicer to go ahead and slice these apples and get the skins off. If there's any blemishes on the apples, or if there's any kind of bug damage, I do cut that part out so that it doesn't go into the scrap pile, because I am going to use the scraps to make some jelly. So I'm making sure that I get all of that stuff off of the apples, off of the scrap pieces, and get those in lemon water. So now I'm getting started on my apple pie filling, and the recipe I'm using calls for around 12 cups of the apples that are already sliced and peeled and cored. And so I've got that already done, and then I'm adding I'm using 2 3/4 cup of sugar, 3/4 cup of clear gel. You want the cooked kind. A half teaspoon, just a half a teaspoon to 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon,
half teaspoon of nutmeg, 1 1/4 cup water, 2 1/2 cups of apple juice, and a half a cup of lemon juice. And this recipe makes around 4 quarts of apple pie filling. And I do make a double batch. I don't double it while I'm making it. I just um, made this batch and then went and made another batch. So I've already got my water bath canner going with some jars and stuff, and I've got my lids in hot water. Anytime I water bath I always want to go ahead and soak my lids and my rings. It's just, you don't have to, but that's what I do when I'm water bath canning. Typically, I don't when I'm pressure canning, but I will with the water bath. And let me just go ahead and say, I am not a professional canner. This is my second year canning, and I am still learning all kinds of things. And so the way I do things may not be the way you do things. And so I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now, I am not a professional. So the recipe does call for you to blanch your apples ahead of time. Just kind of get them in some boiling water for about a minute and then strain them. I do not do that for a couple of reasons. Number one, I like a little bit of a bite to my apple. I don't want it to be very crunchy, but I also don't want it to be mushy. So I don't do that. Plus, these apples are sliced thin. And so it's not a necessary step for me. But then I'm going to add all the ingredients together except for the lemon juice. I'm going to bring it to a boil, and then I'm going to add the lemon juice and return it to a boil and cook for 1 minute. So once the mixture has come to a boil, after you've added your lemon juice, you return it to a boil and cook for 1 minute. You're going to add your apples, and you're going to get them good and stirred into this mixture, and then you're going to start filling up your jars. I used quart-sized jars, and I leave an inch of headspace. I make sure to debubble and wipe my lids, and then I'm going to process these in a water bath canner for 25 minutes, and then once that 25 minutes is up, I take the lid off and I leave them in there for another 5 minutes. It's very important. It helps with siphoning. And so I'm just going to keep working on this, and we'll see the finished product here in just a few minutes. So now I'm going to start on my apple scrap jelly. And what I do is I put all of those scrap pieces into my crock pot. And yes, I am using my crock pot. I didn't see where I couldn't do that. So to save time and energy for myself, I went ahead and did all of this in the crock pot. I'm not adding anything to it except for the scrap pieces, and then I'm going to let this cook on low the lowest temperature that your crock pot will go. You want to cook it on low overnight. So it was about an estimated 8 hours. I've lost the footage of where I strained the scrap pieces out of the juice, but I strained it out and I left it sitting in the strainer in the pot, or yeah, in the refrigerator for overnight, and then came back out and strained it again and let that juice sit in the refrigerator for another 24 hours so that everything can settle to the bottom. And then I started this process right here where I am going to get my jelly together. I did strain it again as I was putting it into the pot because any of the flesh apple pieces that are left, they settle to the bottom, and so I'm just straining that out. And then I'm going to add my sugar. I ended up with 8 cups of juice, of the apple juice. And then to every cup of juice, you want to add 3/4 cup of sugar, and 3/4 cup to a cup of sugar, but you definitely do not want to add anything less than 3/4 cup of sugar. I am using no pectin. This is a no pectin recipe, and so you need that sugar to help thicken this up. And so I'm adding my sugar, and then it is 1/4 of a tablespoon of lemon juice to every cup. So I'm going to add my lemon juice, and then I am going to stir this constantly. I want to bring it to a boil, and then and let it reach the temperature of 221 degrees, and then you're going to take it off the stove. You're going to fill your jelly jars. I only had one. I mean, I didn't only have one. I only filled one jelly jar. When I use apple jelly, I use it for savory dishes. We don't use it as jelly because we prefer apple butter. But I do like to use it in things like if I'm fixing a pork tenderloin, or want to zhuzh up some chicken or something like that. I will use it for that purpose. So I'm canning these. All that to say, I am canning these in pint jars. But I'm going to fill them up, leave 1/4 of an inch of headspace, wipe the rims, do all the stuff, wipe the rims, put it fingertip tight, the lid's fingertip tight, and then I'm going to process this for 10 minutes. And then after the 10 minutes, I'll take the lid off of the water bath canner and then let it set for another 5 minutes before I take them out of the canner. last but not least, I am making a apple crisp with the apples that I canned at the beginning of this video. I had just a little bit left over, so I thought I'm just going to stick this in the refrigerator and then make a dessert with it one night. And so this was the night. And all I needed to do was spray my dish. And then I poured the apple pie filling into the bottom and then made a quick, crisped topping and baked it for about 45 minutes to an hour at 350. And let me tell you guys, this is one of my absolute most favorite fall desserts. This was so, so good. And for the sake of this video, I went ahead and measured everything so that it would be easier for you guys, but typically I don't measure, I just up and go. So for the crisp topping, I'm going to use a half a cup of, well, let me start by saying this. It is an 8x8 baking dish, and there was about a quart full. I didn't have quite enough to make another quart, so it was very close, but you want to be careful with your head spaces, so I just went ahead and saved this. So that's how much apple pie filling I have, and then I'm going to use a half a cup of oats, a half a cup of all-purpose flour, a half a cup of brown sugar, and a half a cup of butter, which is 1 stick of butter. And I am just going to use a pastry cutter. You can use a fork, a knife, whatever you want to incorporate that. And I do leave a few chunky butter pieces, and that's okay. And then I'm just going to crumble this over the top. I personally like a lot more crisp topping to go on my crisp than most people do. So you can cut this back even a little more if you want to, but this is how I did it. This is so, so good. And I normally will add a pinch of cinnamon to this mixture as well, but for whatever reason, I was tired or what, I don't know. I didn't do it, but add a touch of cinnamon to this mixture and it's even more better. So this is so, so good. And when it comes out of the oven, hot and bubbly, that's when you want to add a scoop of vanilla ice cream. So good. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me today in the kitchen. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you give any of these recipes a try, let me know what you think. The apple crisp, like I said, one of my favorite, and it is the fall season where apple and pumpkin everything is here, and so I will be sharing more apple recipes and more pumpkin recipes. So I hope that you guys will stick around for that. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Hit the bell notification. You will know when I upload. Also, if you like this video, I really would appreciate a thumbs up. And if you guys would, leave me a comment in the comments, and let's chit chat a little bit. And so I hope you guys are having a great day. Have a great rest of your weekend. And until next time, I'll see y'all later. Bye.